Well, hi everyone. I'm John Ritlin back with another double review of two more Netflix original movies that have a few connecting themes. They're both from Argentina, they have a lot of flashbacks, and they think they're smarter than they actually are. It's The Son, a psychological thriller about a guy that maybe is experiencing psychosis, or maybe people really are out to get him and fuck with his life. And then there is Perdida. I'm pretty certain I pronounced that wrong. I do apologize. Perdida. I think it's Perdida. I don't really care, honestly, because neither of these movies are really worth your time. And any interesting ideas they have, especially in The Sun, are pretty much squandered by a bunch of bullshit, a bunch of flashbacks, and a bunch of confusing narrative that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So you can probably guess which one I might have enjoyed more, but yeah, neither of these are very good. So there's going to be spoilers here throughout. So let's start off with Perdida. So you got a policewoman that lost her friend in a disappearance. She may have died, she may have not. But at a party, her friend suddenly disappears. Like on this night, she doesn't know where the hell her friend went, and all the other friends moved on with their lives, and some have varying levels of income. Some are not, some are not handling things well, but they all moved on. And it never stopped haunting this woman, Pippa, who she actually was not that bad of an actress. She didn't play that bad of a role, but she's doing this investigation after she stops a human trafficking case where a young girl was kidnapped. And that tends to be the overlying theme here because it breaks down into human trafficking woven in with a mystery plot, and it's all human centipede together, and it's not really very interesting because it's very obvious and it's very cliched. It's also apparently based on a book which I have not read, so I don't know how close it is to the source material. But you have this investigation going on, and you get flashbacks of the police chief helping her become a cop and teaching her not to trust anybody and teaching her how to do things his way, and he will teach her and he will help her solve crimes and do this. And gee, I wonder who's involved in the plot. Oh, the police chief's involved because of course he fucking is, because this movie doesn't have any originality to it. And there's this weird redheaded woman that shows up at this 14th anniversary mass that seems awfully familiar. She seems to be connected to somebody that's in a mental hospital that has connections to this ring of friends, but this one friend went completely nuts, and oh, it's the best friend under a new identity because she was sold into a human trafficking ring, has the name Nadine and also the nickname Mermaid, and there's a weird guy she falls for that has a tattoo on his face. And if it seems like I'm explaining this plot badly, it's because this movie doesn't really bother to explain its plot. It just kind of throws shit at you and assumes that you're going to be able to get it. Now, it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm trying to wrap my head around everything that's going on. It's just it doesn't explain a lot. It leaves stuff up to interpretation. And then when it tries to explain anything a little bit later, well, it isn't very good. And because the police chief's involved, this one main guy who's an Egyptian, apparently, though he looks much more Russian than anything, he gets dispatched. And then the whole plot breaks down, and she finds out that this Nadine is her friend. She explains her case and says, well, that night at this party, and they show a scene that is an assault scene, a brief assault scene that, even brief or not, you really don't want to see those. And it was uncomfortable, and it turns out that, oh, because of all of the stuff that happened with one friend, she was taken because she was a virgin, sold into this human trafficking ring, and oh yeah, then people are killed and then not killed because it seems like one guy's conveniently, still alive to advance the plot to the final act where she confronts her former friend and says, yeah, you're right, they had these connecting necklaces because they were all friends. And she says, yeah, you're right, I don't know you, and hands her this. So despite the fact people died because of her actions and she's been looking for her for so many years, she's like, yep, okay, fuck this, I don't want to have anything to do with you, and hands her the necklace and then leaves. And there's also a lot of slow-mo in this, and I don't know why. And some of the action scenes are fine, but really, overall, can't recommend. It gets a D because it's not very good, but it's about on par with Twin Murders, Silence of the White City, and The Warning, in the sense that there's not as much sci-fi stuff as there is in The Warning, but it really is just your basic cop drama. So we are going to talk about The Sun. Well, by me, and then you're going to listen if you want to. The Sun, which involves a painter that has a kid with his wife. And he kind of it's told in a lot of flashbacks also. First, everything seems good with the wife, and then we flash forward and find out that he can't see his son because it seems like one of two things is happening. He has mass psychosis. He can't recognize faces. He has this thing called Capgras syndrome, where he can't recognize faces. He can't put names to faces. He can't do this. He can't recognize that stuff. So maybe he just is insane. Or, as it turns out, maybe he's believing the people are out to get him. He actually believes that his son was replaced by an exact copy. Because his wife starts acting really, really weird once she gets pregnant. She's self-medicating. There's this weird Norwegian woman that comes and stays with them and is taking care of her. And once the kid is born, and before the kid's born, she becomes more isolated. The wife does. And again, we're getting all these flashbacks and all these flash forwards where this painter, Lorenzo, is still friends with his ex who has a significant other, and they're, and they're all close and everything, but Lorenzo's going more and more crazy because he can't see his son. After the son's born, the wife won't even let him out of the room. She keeps taking care of him, dimming the lights. Oh, he has health issues. He has this, he has that. And since Lorenzo can't see his kid, he begs his friends to help him. He eventually realizes the kid has a fever, yells at the Norwegian woman whose name escapes me, Gundam, I don't remember, Gundam Wing, there we go, a Gundam being the Norwegian woman would have actually been much more interesting. In fact, I demand that this movie be remade with a Gundam taking care of a kid. If you know what a Gundam is, you'll know what I'm talking about. It would be very bizarre. Anyway, so he's released until trial, and he keeps trying to see his son despite this restraining order, this 90-day restraining order that he has. And we don't know if it's a psychosis or he's being fucked around because he finds weird books in the basement about creating human embryos, and that maybe it is cloning or it is a lab thing or something, and that the son really is being kept away and this is a copy or a different kid just to fuck with him. We also don't really get much of an explanation because he ends up getting dispatched when he sneaks out of the house after he takes his son, gets a visitation with his son and leaves it with his ex and her husband. And then he sneaks back into the house, gets into the basement where this crying's happening in this crib, and then his ex-wife shoots him. So, okay, well, his once was pregnant wife, now ex-wife, shoots him. And this is after they had agreed to let him go see his family that he has in Scandinavia. The movie doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't try to, but it tries to be a weird, crazy psychological thriller and have a whole bunch of twists and turns and stuff like that. The problem is, if you're going to have a movie with some twists and turns, you need to have characters. And this movie does not have any characters. You don't feel any sympathy for any of them. And it moves at such a laborious pace, but also such a quick pace, that it doesn't give a chance for the story to breathe, but it also stretches it out, to its limits at the same time. There isn't nearly enough material for a full movie here, yet somehow they try to stretch it out for 90 minutes, and it doesn't particularly work, because you don't have any sympathy for anybody, and then the ex-girlfriend that is now taking care of the kid finds the Norwegian woman, and finds that, her and the ex-wife are living happily in a house that apparently is in this city and out in the forest, and she, rips open this little cover on this basement and sees maybe the kid's down there, the real kid, maybe he's not. Who the fuck knows? I don't care, because this movie wasn't very interesting. So, yeah, this one actually gets a D as well. It's slightly better in the sense that it tries to have a mystery, but that only helps if you have a bit of a payoff, because leaving things open to interpretation is one thing. This movie just assumes that you're going to be so starstruck and blown away that you're going to be able to debate it, and really it's just infuriating. So if there is an explanation for this movie, beyond it just being shit, I don't really know. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.